Donald Trump vs. The New York Times, a $15 billion battle. Ladies and gentlemen, today we step into a courtroom drama that feels less like a legal case and more like a Hollywood script. On one side, you have Donald J. Trump, businessman, television personality, former president, and a man who thrives on conflict. On the other side, you have the New York Times, one of the world's most prestigious newspapers, joined by a group of seasoned journalists and the powerhouse publisher, Penguin Random House. Trump is suing them for a staggering $15 billion, accusing them of defamation. The claim that they deliberately spread lies about his fortune, his business history, and his legacy. Now, let's unpack this story. Not in a dry, technical way, but in a way you'd tell it to a friend over coffee, or in a way a storyteller might narrate it in a podcast. Because the story isn't just about money or newspapers. It's about politics, freedom of speech, power, and the very heart of democracy. The spark that lit the fire. The immediate trigger for Trump's lawsuit is a book titled, Lucky Loser. Written and published under Penguin Random House, the book revisits Trump's rise, from the glitzy towers of Manhattan to the flashing lights of reality TV, and eventually to the White House. The book argues that Trump's legend as a self-made billionaire is, in reality, a carefully crafted myth. It suggests that much of his wealth came from his father's inheritance and that Trump's business empire is riddled with exaggerations and failures hidden behind a glossy image. For Trump, this isn't just criticism. It's character assassination. He claims the journalists and publishers didn't merely get things wrong, they knowingly lied. According to him, they built a fact-free narrative, meant to humiliate him, damage his reputation, and influence public opinion. So what does he do? He doesn't just fire back with a press release. He files one of the largest defamation lawsuits in US history, $15 billion. Why the stakes are so high? Now, let's pause for a moment. $15 billion is not pocket change. That's the kind of number you associate with tech companies, oil empire, or national budgets. For context, it's more than the annual GDP of some small countries. So why ask for such an astronomical figure? Well, Trump's legal team argues that the damage done to his reputation is beyond repair. His image as a successful businessman, which has been central to his brand for decades, is worth billions in political influence, business deals, and public credibility. In other words, they're saying, you didn't just insult a man. You damaged an empire. But let's be real. Lawsuits often inflate damages to make a point, to grab headlines, or to create leverage in court. Whether Trump truly expects $15 billion or not, the symbolic value of that number is undeniable. The Times fights back. On the other side, the New York Times is not staying quiet. Their response has been sharp. They called the lawsuit meritless. From their perspective, this is not about lies. It's about journalism. Investigating, researching, interviewing sources, digging into financial records, that's their job. They argue that their reporting is backed by evidence, and even if Trump disagrees with the conclusions, that doesn't make it defamation. More importantly, the Times sees this as a bigger fight. They say Trump is trying to intimidate the press. He wants to send a chilling message to journalists everywhere. If you write something I don't like, I'll bury you in lawsuits. To the Times, this isn't just about protecting one story. It's about protecting the freedom of the press. The legal mountain Trump must climb. Here's where it gets interesting. US defamation law is not easy to navigate, especially for public figures. There's a standard called actual malice. For Trump to win, he must prove that the journalists either 1. Knew what they wrote was false, or 2. Acted with reckless disregard for the truth. That's a very high bar. Why? Because in America, the law deliberately makes it hard for public officials and celebrities to silence criticism. The Supreme Court case New York Times vs. Sullivan set this precedent decades ago, and it has been a cornerstone of press freedom ever since. So even if the reporting is unflattering, even if it paints Trump in a bad light, unless he can prove malice, he's unlikely to win. And legal experts know this. Many are already saying the lawsuit will probably fail in court. But again, maybe winning isn't the point. The politics behind the lawsuit. Think about Trump's political style. For years, he has built his brand on fighting the fake news media. To his supporters, the mainstream press is biased, unfair, and determined to destroy him. By suing the New York Times, Trump isn't just fighting for his reputation. He's reinforcing his political narrative. He's saying, see, I told you the media lies. I told you they're corrupt. And now, I'm taking them to court to prove it. Whether he wins or loses legally, he wins politically. His base rallies behind him. His critics fume. And once again, Trump dominates the headlines. A history of media battles. This is not Trump's first war with the press. Far from it. Over the years, Trump has sued journalists, publishers, and even small-time writers. In the 1980s, he sued author Timothy O'Brien for suggesting Trump wasn't really a billionaire. Trump lost that case. During his presidency, he often threatened lawsuits against CNN, MSNBC, and other networks, though many of those threats never materialized. What matters is the spectacle. Trump thrives on conflict, and suing the media gives him exactly that, a public battle he can use to energize supporters. The global dimension. Now, step back for a moment. Why does this matter beyond Trump and the Times? Because the outcome of this case could shape the global conversation about free speech and press freedom. If Trump somehow succeeds, it might embolden politicians worldwide to sue newspapers, silence critics, and use courts as weapons against journalists. If he fails, it reaffirms America's strong tradition of protecting press freedom, even when it angers the powerful. Countries around the world are watching closely. In some places, defamation laws are already used to jail journalists. America has been seen as a model for resisting that. Trump's lawsuit could test that reputation. The public reaction. What are ordinary people saying? Well, reactions are split down the middle. Trump supporters cheer the lawsuit. They believe he's finally standing up to what they see as media corruption. They say the Times has been unfair for years, and now it's time for accountability. On the other hand, Trump's critics see this as another attempt to bully and distract. They say he's weaponizing the courts to silence free speech, and that this lawsuit has little chance of success. As usual with Trump, the story divides the nation. And maybe that's exactly the point. What happens next? The lawsuit will now move through the courts. Motions will be filed, arguments will be made, and judges will decide whether the case even deserves to go to trial. This process could take months, even years. In the meantime, the headlines will keep coming. Trump will keep using the case to rally his base, while journalists will keep defending their work. And every step of the way, the world will be watching. Closing thoughts. So here's the takeaway. This $15 billion lawsuit is not just about Donald Trump's reputation. It's not just about a book or a newspaper article. It's about the balance between power and truth, between politics and journalism, between freedom and control. Whether you support Trump or oppose him, you can't deny that this case is historic. It forces us to ask big questions. How much freedom should the press have? Can politicians use lawsuits to silence critics? And in a world of fake news and political spin, who do we trust to tell the truth? Ladies and gentlemen, the story is still unfolding. The courtroom drama has just begun. But one thing is clear, Donald Trump has once again managed to put himself at the center of the world's attention. And love him or hate him, you have to admit, that's his greatest talent.